Let's go to the West Coast. We have the Pac-12 championship game featuring a rematch of 10-2 Oregon versus 9-3 Utah. Utah is a 3-point favorite going into this game. This game is going to be played on ABC this upcoming Friday with an 8 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. Now, the last time we saw these two teams play not too long ago, this was a one-sided affair. Utah beat Oregon 38-7, and it was a butt whooping. Viewer discretion is advised, because what I'm about to talk about is going to be kind of gruesome. It's going to be kind of graphic because, man, Utah just imposed their will on Oregon in their last matchup. And I was watching the game with one of my homeboys at his crib, and he was like, dang, man, like that running back for Utah, Tavion Thomas, like he really looks up the part, and he stole the show in this last affair that they had. 94 rushing yards on 21 carries for 3 touchdowns. So you got to ask yourself, if you're Oregon, what are you going to do differently this time defensively? Because we know that Utah isn't really going to change anything offensively, because we know what Utah is as a football team. We know they want to run the ball, 11, 12, 13 personnel. They're going to have a lot of heavy sets. They're going to have a lot of tight ends in the game, and they're just going to try to run the football and try to prove to you that they're a more physical football team than you. And that's what happened the last matchup. Utah was a more physical and more dominant team up front than Oregon, and that's not something that you really see out of Oregon when it comes to Mario Cristobal being a former offensive lineman. He puts a lot of emphasis in being really dominant and being really good up front, but the last time these two teams matched up, that wasn't the case. Now, Utah ran for 208 rushing yards as a team and held Oregon to 63 rushing yards as a team. And we both know that the identities of these two teams are going to be the run game. Now, Utah was able to establish it last game, but Oregon wasn't able to establish it last game. And if Oregon's going to get the run game on track, they're going to need Anthony Brown to be a bigger part of the run game, because he didn't really get all that much involved in the run game. And their last matchup, I was kind of disappointed. So in this matchup, hopefully we get some more design quarterback runs. Maybe you throw in the read option in there. But also Anthony Brown has to play a lot better in this game than he did last time. Last time he was 17 of 35, 231 pass yards through 1 touchdown. He was inaccurate on a lot of his passes. He missed on wide open guys. And he just needs to step up and play a lot better if Oregon is going to avoid losing to Utah for a second time. Now, when it comes to defending these 11, 12, 13 personnel sets for Utah, you're going to have to put a lot more heavy guys on the line to counteract that. Maybe you're going to have to try to make your safeties play closer to the line of scrimmage and play the run. I know that leaves you susceptible to play action passes down the middle of the field, but I think if you're Oregon and you're Mario Cristobal and you're the defensive coordinator, you can live with Utah beating you with a couple of big plays down the field. I'd rather Utah have a couple of those big plays versus them just running the ball on me all game and controlling the time of possession. You're going to have to pick your poison. And I think for Oregon, you're probably going to want to have your safeties playing closer to the box unless you have to put some more guys on the line of scrimmage. You got to do something, because Utah's game plan, I promise you, is not going to change. It's going to be the exact same game plan they had when they beat you the first time, because when you're Utah, the game plan doesn't change at all, because for Utah, all you really have to do is keep going heavy, keep avoiding Kayvon Thibodeau, and keep running the football down Oregon's throats until they prove you can stop it. Now, the question is, if Oregon is able to stop the run game of Utah, then that's where they can really let their pass rushing ability, led by star pass rusher Kayvon Thibodeau, start to shine, because I don't really feel like Utah is a team that is equipped to beat Oregon throwing the football, let's say 25, 30 times. So when you look at their quarterback in the last game, he didn't really have to do all that much, because all he really had to do was throw a couple couple of passes to keep the drive alive here and there, throw the defense off here and there. But outside of that, Cam Rising wasn't really asked to do that much. He only threw the ball 18 times for 178 yards. So for Utah, I feel like this team could get in a lot of trouble if Oregon is able to come out and find a way to slow down that run game and forces them to put the ball in the air a little bit more than what they would like to. Because once you have to start throwing the football, there's really no avoiding Kayvon Thibodeau. You can try to double team him, you can try to chip him, but it's probably not going to work. So for Oregon, if they're able to slow down this rushing attack, then they definitely have a better chance of winning this game than what they did last time. And also for Utah kind of was in a different situation than Oregon because the rain game was so effective. But what if the game flips compared to what it did last time? What if Oregon is the team that's able to have success running the football and Utah is the team that has to throw the ball to win? So neither one of these two teams aren't really built to have to beat you throwing the football more than 30 times. They would like to limit how many times their QB has to throw the football. At max, Utah and Oregon probably want their two quarterbacks, if you ask their coach, probably throwing the football no more than 25 times this game. That's going to be the recipe. So my big takeaway from this game, my big question I have when it comes to keys to this game is going to be which team is going to have more success limiting the other team when it comes to the ground game. On top of that, the red zone defense for Oregon has to step up and it has to be a lot better. And Oregon has the 107th worst red zone defense in all of college football. Utah's red zone offense did a lot of damage last time they played. A lot of the points came inside of that red zone. So for Oregon, they're going to have to tighten up. And the reason for that was what I alluded to earlier with Utah having a lot of heavy 12-13 personnel sets. So for Oregon, you're going to have to get Utah coming away with field goals in the red zone instead of touchdowns. And Utah's red zone offense, if we're going by the stats, isn't really all that great statistically. But again, when you have one of the worst red zone defenses in college football, that's what happens. So you got to be better in that area. If you're Oregon, you also have to be better on special teams because Utah had a punt return touchdown. And I pretty much saw it coming. I already saw what it was. I think this happened before halftime. So Utah ended up having a big punt return touchdown before halftime. And after that play happened, I pretty much already knew how the game was going. So Oregon pretty much has to be better at all three phases of the game if they're going to be able to beat Utah and win the Pac-12 championship game. Now, for Utah, defensively, their linebackers played phenomenal, and I believe that their linebackers are going to continue to play phenomenally unless these offensive linemen for Oregon are able to find their ways to get down to them and get down to the second level, because that also was another big reason why Oregon didn't have a great time running the football on Utah last game, because their linebackers played phenomenally in terms of filling the gaps, filling those holes, and being able to clog those running lanes up for those running backs of Oregon not really being able to do too much, didn't really have all that much daylight. So the team I'm going to take to win this game, I'm going to take Oregon to win this game. And the reason why I'm going to take Oregon is because I feel like Oregon is not going to lose to Utah twice. I feel like they're going to make the adjustments needed. And on top of that, even though Utah was the more dominant football team, if we're going by talent, Oregon is a more talented football team all around. So with Mario Cristobal, his coaching staff should be able to make the adjustments necessary and find a way to win this game. Now, I don't think this game is going to be a blowout. I still think this game is going to be fairly close, but I'll take Oregon to get the win. 27-24 is my final score prediction for this game.